On a sun-drenched November afternoon, we welcome you inside historic Doyle Field in Leominster here on Rivalry Family Media. Field hockey takes center stage today here on RFM as we get set for action. Looking forward to this fantastic battle as the Leominster High School Blue Devils bring their 2-5 overall record to home turf to play host to the 5-2 Shrewsbury Colonials. 8th game for both teams. This will be the conclusion of their regular seasons. Both teams preparing for playoff action that will begin next week. Todd Robbins alongside Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins. Happy to have you along with us on this gorgeous same-day delay replay here on Rivalry Family Media. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry for the coverage. And on demand on YouTube. Search and subscribe to Rivalry Family Media on YouTube. Today, I welcome in my broadcast partners, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins. Bill, here's the start. Two teams, their records mirror opposites. 2-5 for Leominster, 5-2 for Shrewsbury. Not a lot of things for Leominster have gone right, but there has been the one win on senior night. We were here for that broadcast. A 6-2 win over Westboro. And the thing that we saw in that game, Leominster fell behind early, giving up the first couple of goals, battled back, and eventually overtook the Rangers. That's what it's going to take today when you're taking on this Colonials team. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for the Lady Blue Devils today, no doubt about it. And but I mean, they've been, even in their losses, they've found a way to score some goals, and coming off a win most recently. So they've been playing good, they've been playing better, which is what you like to see. And everybody makes the playoffs in this format. So you're working towards that next quarter, that next half win, take it to that next level. You never know what happens. All it takes is a hot goaltender. Like in any goaltending sport, you run into a hot goaltender, your goaltender gets hot, you make all the difference in a short tournament. That's what I think these Lady Blue Devils need to work for. And Kate, as Bill just pointed out, Leominster coming off of a victory most recently, but a game that they never actually had to play. They were set to play Wachusett, a team they had previously lost 7-3 to. Wachusett had their own experience with the COVID-19 virus. They had to shut their field hockey program down, at least temporarily, not able to compete. Leominster didn't want to accept the victory, but the rules state that if you couldn't field your team, it was a forfeit. So Leominster wins 1-0 in that game earlier in the week, picks up their second victory on the season. But really, for them, looking down the pike, it's been a tough 4 straight losses. Goals getting to about the 3 mark, not able to pile on top of it. Meanwhile, though, something you noticed about the Colonials, although they had 5 straight victories in the middle of the year, started with a loss to Wachusett 3-1, most recently a 2-0 loss to Algonquin, leading to a split in that series on back-to-back games, a 1-0 win on the 4th of November, a 2-0 loss on the 6th of November. The Colonials' scoring average is the item you picked up. Right now, their goals are trending in the wrong direction.
Not only that, the Colonials have had 2 or 3 games within the last week. And so, the back-to-back games against Algonquin can be a little bit tricky. You go in and you win it in good fashion, and then you end up dropping a game. For Leominster, they haven't played since October 26th, so it'll be interested to see, are they going to be fresh, or are they going to need to get the rust off in this one? It's going to be a very interesting matchup today.
Leominster and Shrewsbury, first possession next, but first, our national anthem here at Doyle Field. And first possession coming up here from historic Doyle Field in a moment. field hockey action to wrap up the Fall 1 regular season here on RFM. So happy to have you along with us as a part of this broadcast today. Great to have you with us for the next couple of hours, part of our Rivalry Family Media family. What a beautiful afternoon here for November in Leominster. What a great day here at Doyle Field. No complaints by anyone all around for this type of weather. Certainly, I don't know whether, just the fates or the weather forecast knows it. They've realized that it's not currently football season. Perhaps they're saving that football weather for the Fall 2 season, the way things have been going thus far. Colonials will have first possession to open the game at midfield. They're wearing the road navy blue tops, Vegas gold in the kilts, Vegas gold numerals front and back, with Shrewsbury across the chest. Leominster with the home white tops, white skirts, and white socks down the bottom. Royal blue trim with the royal blue numerals. Leominster across the front of the chest as Leominster goes right to left, swiping the first possession and then an early giveaway. Now Leominster right back on the attack. This is Miller. Miller tries to turn it toward goal, not able to successfully do it. And away we go, back and forth action here. Goaltending matchup for the Colonials. Nora Frederick gets the start in the cage to our left. Anderson Dallaire gets the start, cage to our right. Here on RFM as the ball rolls into the official at midfield. It'll be a Colonial restart.
Right away, some action down in front of the Colonials' goal. Leominster unable to put anything on net, but putting the pressure on right off that faceoff.
That's a nice block by Leominster's Emma Miller to give Leominster possession of the ball, but quickly back in the hands of Shrewsbury, now quickly back in the hands of Leominster.
And back and forth action is what we have seen, moving kind of a third down the field incrementally through the early going of this one. A big flick downfield as the Colonials are able to turn the tide and get on the attack. This is Mullen. Mullen to the middle of the field. This kind of whiffs on the shot, half maybe made a slight contact, and now a whistle and the ball back to Leominster.
Todd, I wanted to make one additional point when we were talking about the playoff situation for Leominster, if that's okay with you. You had mentioned that Leominster did not necessarily want to accept the 1-0 forfeit from Wachusett because of the COVID situation, but that becomes the difference between a 4 seed and a 5 seed. That 4 seed means a home game for Leominster, and that means that their fans are able to attend live and in person. So although they were hesitant and not really excited about having to take that 1-0 victory, it does mean the difference between their fans being able to see them live and not.
And that's the kinds of difference in decision-making you have to make in this COVID world. Mullen tries to move the ball toward net. Leominster trying to clear. It's Diametris that's able to turn the tide, move it up through the middle of the field. And Leominster pushes the action. This is Howlett. Howlett stopped up right around that football 40-yard line. Ball chipped along to Diametris and then able to work it with Howlett. Back and forth they go as they work their way from right to left. Howlett gets partially blocked as she's able to get the shot off. It's kicked away by Frederick toward the sideline.
Nice job by Shrewsbury's defense to clear there all the way back to midfield. They're making that Leominster offense really have to work. And again, because we have the smaller squads out there, there's a lot more space, a lot more area to cover. So if you're able to clear it out of your own defensive zone with that much efficiency, you're going to make your opposition have to really use their legs early on. And because of the heat, look for people to potentially be cramping and look for people to be dehydrated because this heat might be creeping up on people.
Diametris off the restart, got out in front of the action, got pushed, and so it'll be a 25-yard hit for Leominster. Now they move him back just to about the 16. Now the restart. Remember, 6-on-6 action and a goalie on either side for 7-on-7 field hockey in this COVID-modified 2020 Fall 1 season.
Mullen with the ball right now with the best kicks out on that turf by far.
Without a doubt, the bright orange, but they are neither Vegas gold nor navy
as
Dallaire bounces out and kicks that one away.
Which
a stickler won ADJ Costa for having school colors.
She might have gotten away with one there because there is a standing rule by Shrewsbury Athletics. If you're going to have cleats, they better be black, white, royal blue, not royal blue, navy blue, or Vegas gold, and that's it. But I got to tell you, I really like them.
I do. I like it.
Them a lot.
It's right now very in vogue, the bright colors in soccer as well as in field hockey. A little trouble on the exchange for Leominster, but Marchetti gathers her stick and
Girls
right
hook
back into the
sticks.
action.
You got to tap them in and out, and one got hooked with the other one.
Bounding through the middle of the field, Colonials were able to swipe the ball. That was Merva, but right back to Leominster on the infraction.
Leominster right now needing to settle a little bit. They look a little scattered in the offensive zone right now. Got to settle a little bit more. They're trying to make something happen, and Shrewsbury's defense right now stifling within the traditional football red zone, and Leominster's really just trying to figure out what the key is to unlock that red zone area so they can get closer to net.
Merva got some room, but again, just made brushing contact. These wild swings for Shrewsbury in the early going has not led to what they were hoping for, to be able to move the ball. Leominster shot ends up in on net, and Frederick drives it away with a foot. And now the hit above the knee, and the ball goes back to Shrewsbury.
A lot of possession changes here in the early going. It's
right back we go.
It's flip-flop, and then off of a foot,
Yep.
and back to Shrewsbury we go.
It's a
Foot.
finger whistle
violation.
fiasco here as we've gone through the early going. Tweet, 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 and tweet, tweet. But on the break, here comes Mullen. Mullen tried to get the shot off, bothered from behind. It was deflected away by Santucci, scrambling back into the play.
Thus far, both defenses not really allowing any action against the other. Good job by both defenses.
And of course, this warmer day, the smaller squads, and of course, the ability to live substitute on the fly in this game to keep your players fresh, that's going to become very important. And scrambling back into the play, this is Gray Dallaire right off of the substitution. And now a battle for a loose ball. It was Gasparo, got tied up on the play with Breen, and the whistle favors Leominster. This is Santucci. Oh, check it, Marchetti. Ball deflected forward to Santucci, working the far side right. Back and
Stifling
forth, yes.
defense by, that's Hurley for the Colonials of Shrewsbury. She was trying to pick the pocket of the, was that 12?
That was Santucci, yeah.
Yeah, for Santucci. She's literally picking her pocket the entire way on the far side of the field.
Mullen of the bright orange kicks, able to steer it through the midfield with a little bit of help on the connection to Hitchcock.
Can't stop looking at her shoes. I love them.
Deflected to the near side. Marchetti tried to clear, not successful. Sent right back in by the Colonials and Breen. Down the right sideline they go. This is Hitchcock looking for a center. There's Mullen. Tried the backhand, couldn't get it on it. Tried to reverse with a sweeping backhand, not able to do it. And hack away. And finally, a whistle sends the ball the other way in favor of Leominster as Santucci barrel rolls in the play.
Well, that's a situation where if as Santucci on this end, she's getting her pocket picked on the offensive end, she's going to return the favor when she's on defense for Leominster. So seeing what you can get away with, how much body contact you can get away with here in the early going, got to figure out what's going to be permissible by the officiating staff.
And back and forth, the battle again off the restart. Leominster not able to clear their end of the field. This is Hitchcock. And the foul committed by Marchetti.
Hitchcock there was looking for some help from one of her teammates, was looking around before this next restart and saying, hey, where's the help? I'm all by myself.
Merva tries to get clear of Leominster and then send a swing, and that was a wild swing, but they say the contact was initiated by Leominster, and so it'll be Colonials on the restart.
Little herky-jerky here in the early going.
Flicked on, bouncing toward the front of the Leominster cage, swept away by Leominster. And then a foot contact. It was off a Colonial, and so the ball will favor Leominster on the restart.
There's a lot of traffic in there in front of the cage, Bill Thomas.
Yeah, good job by Leominster to keep the ball actually from popping out in front, protecting that front post there, short side.
Deflected down, but back it goes to Hitchcock. Hitchcock plays on looking for Mullen. Mullen to the backhand on Dallaire. The big high kick to clear the zone. And Leominster tries to corral to clear their own zone. Got it back out to just about the midfield point. Attacking is Gasparo. Pocket picked from behind by Hitchcock. Hitchcock through Mullen. Now knocked on through Miller. Miller for Gasparo. And then taken away by Breen. And Breen will turn the tide for the Colonials. Breen attacking down the right wing. Looks to center for Mullen. Tries the one-time shot, swept away front of the net by Leominster. And then a whistle for a foul in the box.
action starting to get a little frantic on these restarts.
Indeed. So remember, usually this would lead to a penalty corner. This is one of those COVID rule modifications. On the restarts, off the penalty, instead of a corner, you end up with a 25-yard hit. Colonials try to play it in, this time with Merva. Through Hitchcock. Down to Mullen, along the end line. Tries to sweep it up front of the goal. Cleared away up front by Leominster's Miller. And the whistle came from down on the corner again. This looks like it would be a penalty corner now, 25-yard hit. Yeah, the foul called on Leominster in the attacking end. Final 5 minutes of quarter one. Merva drags to the near side, then tries to reverse fields, being marked closely by Diametris. Falls down as Breen sends a shot in toward the Leominster end. And now with some room, Kent redirected, far side. Leominster goes the other way with Parker. Parker taps it on with control. Parker looking to get it out in front to Dallaire. Moved forward successfully, then Dallaire swept on. Working with Diametris down the middle, meets a Colonial picket fence for the moment. Knocked down, Dallaire through the middle. The contact called against the Colonials, it appears. Leominster ball.
Just heard a very interesting note from the head coach for the Colonials, Courtney Lavin, to her team. One of her players, she said, "You're hiding out there. You got to get in there." With with how few bodies there are out there on the field right now, you can really tell if somebody's struggling or if somebody's really not giving their all out there. It's plain to see. You don't have 11 bodies out there to be able to hide. Every single person that's out there on the field really need to be giving their all, because those contributions, if you're not giving your all, if you're not being aggressive, very easy to see that.
Colonials on the attack. This is Miller. Miller created some space, bothered from behind and taken away by Miller. Miller on Miller. Miller for Leominster with the pocket pick, turns it away from Gabrielle Miller from the Colonials.
Right now, Miller and Santucci for Leominster have been absolutely everywhere.
Dallaire with the double knee block to drive the ball away right into the defense in front of him. Foul called on Leominster in the attacking end. 25-yard hit for the Colonials.
That gets a little bit scary. Those balls are no joke.
Hard, dense plastic.
Continues to apply the offensive pressure here, too.
3:15 off the restart. Merva's shot knocked down in a pack. Pulled to the near side by Miller. Miller sends a bounding ball to the front of the cage. It is swept away by Constant. And Constant will send it up the right side of the field. Howlett to catch up to it. Howlett tried to take it in stride, had to slow down a little bit, and the ball taken away by the Colonials.
2 Colonials on her when they pick her pocket right around midfield.
Howlett does a nice job to avoid that ball coming back to her feet. And again, Leominster unable to peel through the middle of the field.
Shrewsbury's defense has been very, very physical. Their physicality coming up against these, bodying up against the Leominster players, incredibly effective on defense have been the Colonials.
Leominster finally able to push it into their attacking end, but only momentarily before Merva catches up to a loose ball right at the midfield stripe. And Merva sweeps it across midfield, knocked down by Emma Miller from Leominster. Mullen pulls it away. Muller comes to the near side, finds Gabrielle Miller. The long strike opportunity, swept away out front there. That was Jordan. Jordan stays with a persistent clear, overruns, and now eventually able to move it up the sideline for Diametris. Centering for Miller. And now Boris. And the whistle. Stick contact called against Leominster for the little slash, if you will.
Todd Robbins, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I'll come back to it in just a second here. And
Bounding ball was deflected off of Leominster. Should be Shrewsbury
Do you
ball.
notice anybody missing from Leominster's bench today?
Is this an eye exam?
Trick question?
No, not. It looks like Coach Beth Field is the point you're making, Kate.
Yeah, I don't see her down there. She happens. Doctor's orders we're hearing. I figured as much. We had seen that she is in the family way, as Queen Elizabeth prefers it to be mentioned. She is in the family way, very much so this season, and her absence very noticeable. she's probably going to be texting and checking in repeatedly during the game, hoping that her Blue Devils can perform without her here.
As PA announcer Dick Tucker notes the 1-minute mark, a bounding ball heads in on Dallaire and just steers wide of the net as both the sweep mark up front and Jordan and Dallaire himself did not see the ball well, and it just kind of guided itself wide of the right post and out of play. Leominster ball, but a scary moment there. I don't think anybody in the Leominster White knew where that ball was coming into cage.
To be honest with you, I didn't know where it was either on camera. It was such a quick shot.
Excuses, Bill Thomas.
Just telling it how it is. Cameraman in training full time.
Up through the middle of the field. This one deflected off of Breen. Leominster tries to push Howlett. Tried to pick up the loose ball. Couldn't do it. Sent right back in by the Colonials. Stick-to-itiveness for Leominster through the midfield stripe. This is Gasparo. Knocks it loose. 2-on-1 if they hurry. It hopped over the stick of Howlett right around the 20-yard line. And it's cleared back out once again. That back line of the defense is determined for the Colonials to keep that ball 20 yards out from goal. 1 quarter in the books here at historic Doyle Field. No score, Leominster and Shrewsbury.
I wanted to make one final point before I let you send it away for the quarter break. We know that Coach Field not here for the Lady Blue Devils, but right now the team being shepherded and in the capable hands of Coach Burrow, the JV coach for the Lady Blue Devils. So I wanted to make mention of that as well. We know that they're clearly not, leaderless out there. It's not as if they sent the team out there and it was like, okay, AD Palazzi, time to go and coach field hockey.
That's been done before, but not the case today. Coach Bro in place of Coach Field. Substitutions galore through 1 quarter. Leominster nothing, Shrewsbury nothing. A break and we're back with more. Second quarter action when we come back. This is RFM. And back to historic Doyle Field for second quarter action here on Rivalry Family Media Field Hockey. On tap today, same day delay, facebook.com/media rivalry. Our usual 9 p.m. same day delay. This from earlier today on a beautiful sun-drenched afternoon at historic Doyle Field. Hope you got the opportunity to get outside, enjoy the great weather, and now find yourself indoors, cuddled up and enjoying our field hockey coverage from earlier in the day. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, happy to be with you. As we begin second quarter action, Colonials with the first possession, and we're underway. No score. Shrewsbury and Leominster at the start of the second quarter.
Wow,
this is
right
Trippy.
Back at it.
Yes, indeed. Trippy on the approach, being bothered from behind by Miller. Stick goes kind of flying dangerously through the air, and
that's Elena Trippy, also of Shrewsbury Colonials softball.
yes, bounding ball through the middle of the field. This is Howlett.
She's a junior already.
Knocked down by Hurley. Yes, that is how they work.
Wow.
Yeah. Flicked on there by Merva, and the bouncing ball past Mullen. Mullen, one person to beat, steered away that time by Gabriel.
Nice defense right there, stick to stick.
I'll correct it, Russo from out front in the sweeper spot. First whiff by Breen was right in the grill of Diametris, able to avoid. Merva's shot deflected down by Miller. Miller tapped on by Diametris. Howlett comes over to help out with the backhand and is able to move it into the zone. Back to it goes Diametris, now tries to get the ball moving on the start. Sent back this Miller. And then Miller tapped away by Merva. And in that case, through the stick of Santucci, up to Howlett. Howlett tries to sweep it on best she could to Diametris as she was being hooked a little from behind. Stick-to-itiveness keeps her moving forward. Shot by Howlett, kicked away this time by Frederick, and it's a Leominster ball.
One of the few times we've seen Shrewsbury's defense break down. They've been playing great midfield defense, and Leominster having all kinds of trouble breaking through to the offensive end, getting inside the 20. But good job right there to create a couple of offensive opportunities.
And the restart. Leominster shakes left, inbounds right to the middle of the pack. Knocked down. Slung on. Howlett's in the middle of the field. Myatt wasn't able to get the ball quite all the way down to her. Santucci battling with a couple of Colonials and is able to stay in play and draw the penalty. Leominster ball in the indirect. Shot on. Santucci for Diametris. Tried to poke it back looking for Miller, and the whistle in Leominster as the ball got overtaken.
Quite the scrum in there, right near the cage.
Yeah, Coach Lavin was hoping for a play-on signal as her team looked like they were set on the break. Thus her frustration down on the field. 12.5 to play, second quarter. No score, Leominster and Shrewsbury here at Doyle Field. This is Trippy. Tries to cut to the middle of the field looking for Mullen. Leominster's able to clog up the path. Now pulled loose once again. This Mullen being closely marked by Santucci. Dallaire comes out to try to tie the ball up and play it out in front of his cage, and the ball gets hooked in the Michelin Man boot and stops action.
That could have laughed from the crowd.
We do our best.
Looks like he's wearing a spacesuit out there, but we'll go with the...
I was going to say, field hockey's equipment has changed dramatically in the last 15 years. It is a much more thick, dense foam with these thick foam boots that we've seen them kick balls away with. Got to be thick, Bill Thomas, if they're willing to put a kick on it. That ball is hard and dense and comes in with authority. Colonial's not able to make the most of that 25-yard hit.
Definitely not a Nerf ball that they're playing with out there. It's almost like a softball or baseball.
Oh, no, it's worse
Even
than
denser.
That. It's worse
Even
than
denser. It's got this hard plastic shell.
Outer shell,
that, I mean, is incredibly dense. Bouncing ball, Leominster able to poke it out. And croqueted right back down the field by Merva. Deflected down by Trippy. Goes with the sweeping backhands, able to move it on to Mullen. Now Santucci strips the stick out of Mullen. Merva comes in on it, out of the cage,
range.
cut the angle, and kick save, and a beauty for Dallaire.
Nice job through a screen right there.
That was from long range, too.
Swept up through the middle of the field. Knocked on. Leominster's got a chance for a break here. Gasparo should be first to the ball. Closing quickly is Shrewsbury's Hurley. Hurley gets over to it, gets back into the play, makes the contact. Leominster ball.
Gasparo was looking over her shoulder to see not only where the Shrewsbury Colonial was, but to see what help she had, and she was the lone horse on that side of the field.
Santucci tries to move it on to Gasparo. Ball bounced out. Colonials again try to clear. Merva didn't get all of it. Was able to get a little bit of help. Poked out now in front of Trippy, and Trippy moves the ball across midfield. Moved up to Mullen. Mullen in between three Leominster defenders. Hooks it wide. Dallaire had kind of lost angle as to where he was in the cage, but thankfully he was wide of the net, as was the ball.
And we talk about those kick attempts, and he kind of whiffed on that one, but the shot was fortunately not on net. But I'm really surprised that we don't see that happen more often.
Well, the goalies use the kick save with such authority.
Well,
Every
the
single
bouncing
time
ball,
you see it.
you can't rely on just that,
Right.
that stub of a stick. I'm assuming so that they learn to use their legs and their feet quite effectively.
Very easy to lose sight of. I mean, you have to imagine, unlike something like ice hockey where you have a clear crease that you're working with and nice contrast between the white and the colors, here at the turf at historic Doyle Field, it's lines and colors galore. So there's no help out there visually on the ground to remind you kind of where your angle is. You just have to have some situational awareness.
Shrewsbury Colonial defense yet again stifling in their defensive end. Gray Dallaire gets the ball taken away from him.
Same player again. It's Hurley. She's a one-woman wrecking crew on the defensive end. Even if she's out of the play, somehow she's back in the play in a blink.
She's saying not in my end of the field.
Dallaire broke up that clear attempt, but then the contact above the knee, and the ball goes back to Shrewsbury.
And again, Leominster's offense right now trying to figure out what the key is to penetrate that Colonial defense. They have not been getting a lot of attempts on the offensive end, and like you said, you can attribute it essentially all to number 11, and that's Miss Hurley out there. She has, again, in the scrum, and she's getting rid of that ball. She wants nothing to do with having any white jerseys on her end of the field.
She struggled with the two restarts. Now a third opportunity on that restart and got full contact and bounds it all the way up on the attack for Mullen. Mullen tried to reverse directions. Goes to the corner post, and it's stripped away by Leominster. Nice job by Parker to pull the ball away on the right side of the net and now start a break up the right sideline. Parker through the midfield to Dallaire, and Dallaire with the push as he lost possession of the ball and then made contact with Hurley. And so Hurley, another opportunity with the restart, but there she was again, representing her very own picket fence.
The Great Wall of Hurley.
Dallaire, near side for Diametris. Diametris out on the attack. Frederick sliding out to kick the ball away. That got awfully exciting. She got 20 yards away from her own goal to drive that one away.
Very aggressive goaltending play right there, but effective. Beat everybody else to the ball.
Well, there were two Leominster players that had essentially beaten the defense, and there was only one defender for Shrewsbury other than Frederick. So she took it upon herself to come out. As you said, she was all the way up to the football 20 and makes the sliding save to kick that ball out beyond the traditional football red zone. But Leominster retains possession here and remains on offense.
Constant on the restart. Knocked down off a stick of a Colonial. Leominster able to keep it in this time. It's Marchetti. Marchetti has that one hop over her stick on a second opportunity, and Trippy is going to break clean. Trippy firing it up to Mullen. Mullen trying to catch it in stride. Now able to sweep on. Crossing that football 20-yard line. Backhand at the 15.
Waiting for help.
Yeah, tries to slip it up forward for Boris. Boris working on Dallaire, and Dallaire times it right and kicks it away. Right back in on the attack, though. This is Mullen. Dallaire, another kick with the boot and drives it away. Trippy, a third opportunity on the possession. Kicked away again and over to the near sideline. And finally, Clear will at least stop the attack for the moment.
And right now, the difference that we're seeing between these two offenses, when the Colonials get into the offensive end and they get proximal to that cage, they're not just getting one scoring opportunity, not just getting two scoring opportunities. On that one, they had three legitimate scoring opportunities on the same possession. Whereas on the flip side, when Leominster's getting into their offensive end, they're only coming away with potentially one shot on goal because the Colonial defense has been so stifling. They are getting that ball out of their defensive end, and they are pushing Leominster back to midfield. And so that's what we're seeing, those quality, those consistent multiple attempts on offense by the Colonials right now.
Hitchcock all the way up to the cage, pulls trigger and drags it wide of the left post out of play. Leominster ball passing the 5.5-minute mark here of quarter two as we wind down toward halftime. No score, Leominster and Shrewsbury in the first half of this one. Coach Bro with the air high five for Dallaire as he comes back over to the bench. Spelled by Howlett as they keep fresh out on the field.
It's very 2020.
Indeed. This is Howlett with some space. Sent up through the middle of the field, and guess what? Hurley knocked it down, this time on the opposite side, the attacking side of the midfield. You're not getting by Hurley. Try another part of this field if you're going to try to move the ball downfield in your Leominster. Up through the middle of the field. This one shot on Dallaire out of a pack, knocked down. Trippy tries to come back to get a second opportunity as it cleared right in front of his own cage. And now a foul committed by Leominster, and so the restart favors Shrewsbury.
Tough save on a bounding ball through traffic right there. Saw it at the last second. Good job by Dallaire.
Hitchcock goes high, batted out of the air by Dallaire and back down to the turf. And the contact caused by Shrewsbury. It's Leominster ball. And they are able to withstand yet another flurry of action. And a whistle foul committed. Leominster got it caught up in their own feet, and the ball right back to Merva and the Colonials. Merva moves it on for Boris. Boris gets the angle, shot, kicked down, knocked away, and then knocked away a third time by Dallaire away from Trippy, who was at point-blank range and just trying to get the ball settled. Knocked down again by Leominster and flicked out one more time. This time, Leominster able to clear. This is Diametris working with Howlett. 2-on-1 with Hurley with a couple of Colonials trying to close from behind. They are able to do so as Diametris got caught up, but now the whistle is going to let Leominster push the ball farther down as it'll favor them on the restart with Miller. Miller whiffs on the opportunity to drive the ball down, and then hook scramble getting back in the play. Hurley got called for the infraction. So Leominster on the restart. Santucci drives it into the middle of the field. It's off a Leominster foot in front of the Colonial cage. Ball back to Shrewsbury. Knocked down by Santucci. Santucci sends it back. And once again, now drives it a little farther into the Colonial end. Colonial's trying to clear. Merva, touch to settle the ball. Flick it out to the wing. Move it to the near side. It's Miller. Miller keeps it in. Miller gets the full drive. Bounding ball down, whiffed on the backhand, stopped by Russo. Continued to move down toward the end line. Russo trying to recover. Still battling for the ball. Colonials with it. Chipped on, if only for a moment, and then Santucci slaps it over the end line. Colonial ball. 2.5 to play till halftime. No score. Leominster and Shrewsbury here on a beautiful afternoon at Doyle Field.
The action on both ends of the field has been just absolutely constant. I feel like we're spending next to no time around midfield where they're one or the other are deep into their own offensive zone.
This is Merva. Goes down into the corner. Finds Miller. Miller to center. Up front, not able to get a stick on it is Boris. Now Boris tries the backhand hook. Thrown away for the moment by Leominster. Merva from a shot from distance, kicked away. And then a whistle, the contact created by the Colonials. And once again, Leominster's defense able to keep the ball away. They are withstanding multiple attacks each time Shrewsbury is able to move the ball down this end.
Yeah, every time they're on the offensive end, they are getting multiple shots on goal. They're getting multiple attempts at that cage.
90 seconds to halftime. Leominster a little trouble on the restart, and the ball crosses the line out of play. Shrewsbury ball. Merva sends a high bouncing shot that caught where padding was not, as that one caught high on the thigh of Dallaire and kicked down and away. Foul committed by Leominster in the scoring area. It's going to be a 25-yard hit for the Colonials on the restart. Final minute here of the second quarter. And a whistle, and it'll be Colonial ball.
Things are getting a little testy down there.
Yeah, Colonials thought they were going back for a 25-yard hit. The official said no. They could keep it right where they were. Little bit of a problem on the restart. Leominster came on the attack a little fast, did Parker. And now here we go. Merva gets good contact there on the restart, but knocked away by Howlett. Howlett tries to carry it out through Parker. Parker tries to pitchfork it on, not able to do it, and swatted back it goes. Great battle there with Breen. Breen chops it forward. Whiffed there by Bores. Second opportunity. Knocked away this time by Dallaire and then cleared across the end line. Colonials will get another opportunity as the final ticks of this half wind down off the board. And that's the end of the first half of action here at historic Doyle Field. Zeros across the board. No time left in the first half. No goals on either side. Leominster 0, Shrewsbury 0. Through one half of action, Bill Thomas, what action we have seen back and forth in this first half.
What action, and it's been coming in flurries, you know, and but I think we've seen Shrewsbury get the better of it. If we're keeping track of shots on goal, I'm going to guess they're 2, maybe 3-1 at this point in Shrewsbury's favor. But, you know, rebounds are there. There have been opportunities been there for Shrewsbury, but the Blue Devils defense has done a good job getting that rebound out from Dallaire. You know, but Shrewsbury's had their opportunities, quite frankly. You know, they controlled the play, but they're not on the scoreboard no matter how much play they control. The proof is in the pudding that Leominster's played good enough. We got a 0-0 at the half.
Scoreless at halftime. Leominster and Shrewsbury. Second half action when we come back. This is RFM. And back to historic Doyle Field. Second half action swept underway. The Amateurs will open the ball to Leominster, and away we go up the near side. This is MIAA. Colonials, Hurley immediately knocks it away, and away we go. Leominster wearing the home white tops, white bottoms, trimmed in royal blue. Royal blue numerals front and back, Blue Devils across the front of the chest. Meanwhile, here's Mullen on the break, going right to left for the Colonials, and poked away this time by Russo. And Leominster favors on the restart. Goaltending change for the Blue Devils. Anna Worry, who's been playing second half action. Worry now in the cage located to our left as Leominster goes left to right in the second half of action. Ball deflected forward. This is Trippy. Trippy with some room to Mullen. Swept on goal and rattles the back of the cage.
with authority.
Not a lot you could do about that. I don't care. You got 2 goaltenders in front of the
authority.
cage on that, and there's not a lot you could do.
56 seconds into the third quarter. It is 1-0 Shrewsbury, and they wanted to get on the board, and they have indeed.
That was impressive. You had seen their offense. I mean, they had been getting great penetration into the Leominster defense, and they were pressing and pressing and pressing, and then just a beautiful pass and beautiful score by the Colonials.
Kent
They're
has the
looking to
ball
do it
taken
again.
away from her by Mayette. Moves it up to the near side. This is Howlett. Howlett flicks it on and then catches it up to it herself, only to make contact with Hurley, who closes the door on the attack.
Okay.
Hurley elevates across midfield. Bounding ball past Merva, moved down the near sideline by Kent. Kent sweeps it to the middle of the field. Shot knocked down in front. Worry out of position. Backhand and hooked into the goal. 2-0 Shrewsbury. Barely 2 minutes gone by here in the third quarter.
The floodgates have opened.
Indeed, they have all of a sudden.
Look like
And they say it's a second goal for Mullen. Mullen, 2 goals in 2 minutes here at the start of the second half. Wow.
It's the shoes.
Indeed. Well, note as well, by the way, Leominster has been going with this goaltending change throughout the entirety of the season. Dallaire plays the first half, Worry plays the second. So there was no coaching strategy there beyond what has already been going on throughout the year. So that has exactly zero to do with this change, other than Worry comes in cold into a difficult game coming off a halftime and has faced 2 shots, and they've both gone in. Here's Mullen again, now looking to take the game over entirely. Mullen bothered from behind by Russo. Tried to pitchfork it on goal. Falling down, she throws it at goal. Swept away from the front by Russo. Now Russo forward for Gasparo. Merva swings to Mullen. Mullen, middle of the net. This time, Worry, double knee swat, throws it away. And creating some room and driving the ball downfield is Mayette. Now Leominster's going to get on the horse to catch up to the ball that got so expertly cleared by Mayette. Dallaire not able to get to it, and this one will bounce away by Merva. And Merva ships it right back into the Leominster end of the field, up forward to Trippy.
Right now, the Colonials seem to be working in a different gear than Leominster. Leominster not able to even get back on defense. They're slowly moving out
very
there
slow.
right now.
Second
Very
2-on-1
slow.
right there in front of the net here in the first 6 minutes of the third quarter.
Shrewsbury's conditioning, I think, coming out in here, and it's been very impressive. Again, they're working at a different level right now than Leominster in the speed department, just the speed department.
Mayette was able to clear forward to Dallaire, and then Merva tripped him up. And so Mayette will get the opportunity to drive it off the near sideline on the restart.
In the 31st minute, that's Mullen from Trippy for Shrewsbury.
Leominster trying to settle the action here on this restart, taking a second to get settled in.
Mayette waves wildly at it the first time, but does get a second opportunity to ship it to the other side of the field before coming off for the substitution.
I think Leominster's going to need to have quite a few shift changes here in order to get their legs settled back underneath them. Right now, not able to keep up with Shrewsbury out there at the moment.
Okay, I want to come back to that in a moment, but first Trippy on the attack. Trippy had the first assist on the first goal, feeding Mullen, and then Mullen unassisted on the second goal. Caught in a foot, play on is the signal as Shrewsbury maintains possession. Now taken away. Mullen takes down Santucci, now recovers the ball, throws it in front of the cage, and it's steered away by Parker. Overran by everybody, and now Kent comes back, and Kent will fling the ball wide left and the ball back to Leominster. And Kate, back to your point about Leominster needing to kind of move and keep these shifts coming. When you hit halftime in a game that was so expertly connected, you can go one of two ways. Can you continue to push the energy level higher and higher and higher?
Yep.
Or do you come out flat at the start of the second half because you gave it everything you had in the first half? And right now we're seeing with Shrewsbury, they've got another gear thus far, and Leominster has started the second half flat, but they're trying to battle their way back in here in the third
And
quarter.
you can certainly see it, and you're seeing these short shifts that that Coach Bro is starting to put out there for the Lady Blue Devils to try to mitigate what's going on. If you're seeing Mullins and crew out there, have been out there for the entirety of this game. Very few shift changes going on for either team in the first half. But if you take a look at the length of Shrewsbury's bench, it is deep. There are a lot of people out there.
Ball bounces up front, it got deflected, and once again to the back of the cage, a Colonial score. 3-0, 10:16 to play in the third quarter. And the officials are getting
Floodgates have
together at
opened.
midfield. Yes.
I think that was that 17 in the middle right
Looked
there?
like it may have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure her name, but I'm
9:39. That's what it should be at.
taking a little time off the clock. Well,
Yeah, so they correct the clock to 9:39. And Leominster is going to make a goaltending change. Anderson Dallaire is going to take up the net to our left as Worry will come off the field.
And earnestly, I mean, Dallaire had a phenomenal first half, absolutely phenomenal first half in the cage for the Blue Devils. But most of what just happened in the early going here in the second half cannot all be attributed to Worry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
couple of those goals were just unsavable, I
Yeah.
think. I don't even know if she saw them. That happened. So especially
Yeah.
that first one, the redirect with authority. I
But
mean,
the amount of activity that Dallaire had in the first half, it's an understandable change to make right now. He saw a flurry of action in the first half, and he was able to keep up that Leominster defensive effort and keep Shrewsbury scoreless. So it makes sense. Try to put back in what was working, but right now Leominster struggling just to get back on defense to help anybody out. Shrewsbury's offensive attack has been incredibly apt at penetrating the Leominster defense. And again, you can just see the different level of speed that's going on out there. Leominster continuously scrambling on the defensive end. And just,
Miscue off the restart is picked and kicked away by Dallaire coming back in front.
Yep.
Not sure what happened there, but Leominster, part was ready for the restart and part was not.
that's exactly what we're talking about. Shrewsbury is firing on all cylinders right now. They clearly have a laser pinpoint focus, and right now Leominster is just in a scramble of survival at this point in time, and they're not even on the same page.
and I think once you see the physical fatigue set in, then the mental fatigue starts following, and we might be seeing a little of that already.
And again, this heat will creep up on you. We talk about it a lot in football season, and it's something as fall starts to set in, you kind of get used to this cold, bundling up, trying to stay warm. When you have these, second winds of nice summer weather, all of a sudden you forget, hey, hydration, got to hydrate the day before, got to maintain my energy, got to make sure that I'm doing the right things. It's a completely different mindset in the shift of the weather, and it's not always something that you think about when you're 14 to 18 years old.
Leominster with a momentary reprieve, but the Colonials are right back in on the attack. This is Hitchcock, kicked away to the side by Dallaire as defensive shape in front of him fell apart once again. Has to take it into his own hands and swat it away.
Once again, he had a masterful performance in the first half, and it's obvious here in the the going here in the second half, he's going to have to put this team defensively on his shoulders in order to stem the tide and give Leominster's offense a chance to get back in there. Now, right now, the way things are looking, Leominster's going to have few and far between shots at that goal in the offensive end, so they're going to have to take advantage of it when they get it.
Contreras seeing some of her first action, move through to the near side through Fife. Now a battle right at midfield. This is Hurley. Hurley steals it away, moves it forward for Mullen. Mullen swats it far downfield. It hops a stick and down to Hitchcock. Hitchcock over to right of net. Shot. Dallaire able to come out, cut off the angle, and the ball goes wide of the cage right.
And he's a physically imposing presence, like you said, cutting off the angle on the Shrewsbury forward there. You have a situation where he's able to cut that angle off and make something happen on defense for the Blue Devils. But once again, Shrewsbury was on that offensive end. Leominster able to now get possession, and we are dribbling the ball is Diametris, and She coughs it back up to Shrewsbury, and Shrewsbury on the attack once again.
And it's been back and forth action play on the signal. This is Hitchcock. Tried the backhand sweep with the hook, couldn't do it. Stripped by Contreras.
No help. Nobody there to help.
And Contreras stuck in the molasses over here on the near side. The whistle was against the Colonials. They thought they were able to pick and that it favored them on the restart. It does not. Contreras has the ball to start for Leominster. Contreras forks it on for Fife. Fife taken away for Mullen. Mullen, though.
Flailing again.
Yeah, indeed. Waved wide. Now comes to the near side. Under 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. 3 third-quarter goals for the Colonials, 2 of them in the first 2 minutes of the second half.
Flailing and flailing, Todd, that's a technical term.
Indeed it is. Ball bounced back in the zone. This is Contreras. Contreras chipped it away.
Oh.
Battled for it right along the football 30-yard line. It was Miller battling there. Ball bounces back into a pile, and now taking it out at Santucci.
That was a nice job by Santucci to get to get possession for Leominster on defense, doing a nice job of, just unceremoniously dumping that back out so that the Colonials do not retain offensive possession and get out of here, get back to midfield and see if Leominster's offense can get something going.
And Santucci, wisely there on the restart, goes wide side of the field. Said, let's try something entirely different because this isn't working. But somehow, however the fates are turned or the field is tilted, it finds its way to Hurley, who Hurley's able to send it back on the attack and drive it back down. And I think that's going to be, when you look back at this game, the play of Hurley and the ability to turn the tide and stop the Leominster attack and send it back down in makes all the difference in the world.
She made her presence felt on defense at midfield, but also on offense in front of the net too, with I believe 2 goals.
They talk about
the 3.
They talk about stifling defense at times being the best offense, and in this case, she is epitomizing that for sure. For Shrewsbury, she is not allowing anything into the defensive end right now, and that just allows her offense to be incredibly aggressive when they get the ball.
Evans moves the ball up on the attack, threw a stick, and out of play. Ball back to Leominster. And unfortunately, we don't have a 22 on the roster provided by the Colonials, but there is a fantastic player out there. She came on one of the last changes, and unfortunately, we don't have a 22 to properly credit her, so we do apologize for that, but certain limitations to what we can
Call
do.
her the double deuce.
That's right. Leominster will go to the wide side of the field left. This is Santucci. Santucci on ahead for Diametris.
Mullen getting a rare spell for Shrewsbury. She looks gassed.
You can see her absolutely gassed over the near side.
But she's like, Coach, put me back in. But she's gassed. She'll be back.
Caught up there with Miller. Yeah, I don't think that anybody's going to convince Mullen that she's done for the day.
No.
First 2 goals of the game. First 2 within the first 2 minutes of the third quarter for Mullen.
Leominster on defense yet again. Shrewsbury's offense pressing the issue.
And Mayette's able to steer it away. 3:10 to play here in the third quarter and a 3-0 Colonial lead. Play on the signal as Leominster possesses. Sent right back down. Wild swing. Yeah, I was going to say that crook was right up by the head and finally drew a whistle. Santucci will get the ball in the restart. Diametris slings to the near side. Now there's a race coming to the near side. It's Howe. Howe tries to get to it. She does.
That was a rare miss by Hurley on defense for the Colonials.
Tried to center it back for Mayette, pinching up from the defensive spot. Now Leominster's got everybody on the attack but one, and whistles and the signal Leominster ball in the restart. Santucci caught an edge, didn't get full contact. Chip it out as they try to move it forward, but right to Mayette, who drives it back in. And then Merva, who sends it back out, long distance connection. And here come the Colonials one-on-one. This is Miller. Miller steps around the sweeper. Now to the left side. Can she move to the backhand? She will stop it. Is there anybody to help? Dallaire steps out, swats it away with the foot, and sends it away long distance past Merva.
Merva doing a nice job boxing out from the Leominster defender there.
Merva sends it back in, and then a whistle as Leominster's Marchetti gets called for the infraction, and so the restart belongs to Shrewsbury. 90 seconds to play here in the third quarter, and Leominster chasing 3.
Mullen for Shrewsbury has gotten her water. She's back up and she's making her presence known so the coach knows, I'm ready.
Dallaire scrambling back in. Shoulder contact.
And a kick.
Yeah, the push called. Colonial ball on the 25-yard hit. Merva
Very tactical.
very tactically trying to find an input point. Couldn't do it.
Well,
and so Leominster pulls it away.
And Gray Dallaire is an imposing figure when he's about 10 yards away from you, and that's the person you've got to beat and be able to get it to one of your teammates. That can be pretty intimidating. So waiting and trying to allow something to develop behind him was a wise choice, but he was still able to cut off the pass.
Constant trying to keep the attack going for Leominster, and the foul called on Miller. And so Constant will get it on the restart. Tried to swing it forward for Dallaire, couldn't do it. Merva knocks it down, and Merva the long distance drive down to the offensive end. Colonials will be the first one to it. It's Evans. As it's poked away there, sweeper comes out. That was Del Judas. And Leominster tries to clear the zone. Can they get it by Merva? No, they cannot, at least not at the moment, until Dallaire gets a crook on it and is able to send it over midfield. But again, a momentary lapse as Breen will drive it back down in again. And that's the way the third quarter will end. Through 3 quarters here in historic Doyle Field, the score, Shrewsbury 3 and Leominster nothing. Tough drag for the start of the third quarter for Leominster, coming out just a little flat to start that third quarter, and they find themselves quickly down 2-0. Another goal on top of it a few moments later, and within the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, Leominster went from knotted at 0 to down 3-0. A break and we're back with more. The all-important fourth and final quarter when we come back to historic Doyle Field. This is RFM. And back inside historic Doyle Field in Leominster, ready for the start of the fourth quarter of action. A 3-0 Shrewsbury lead through 3 quarters. Leominster chasing 3 to start this fourth quarter. Bill Thomas, when you go from being in a situation where you were in a 0-0 game and seemingly in the ball game to then all of a sudden you are not only out of the ball game, but you feel way out of the ball game, how do you start to work your way back in?
Well, you know, we talked about it the other night. You got to win your quarters. You got to win your battles. And even though it's 3-0, those goals happen so quick. I mean, really not a lot the defense or the goalie could do about it. Right? Just great offensive pressure by the Shrewsbury Colonial girls. But you know, once again, let's just try to win this fourth quarter, get a goal, and just prepare for next week.
And away we go with this fourth quarter. And Leominster's control of the ball was fleeting. Right back on the attack. Here come the Colonials.
Mullins is back.
Indeed. Kent tried to move it up to Mullen, couldn't get it to her. This was MIAA trying to clear her zone. Merva drives it further down in for the Colonials. Chipped on. Miller trying to be pesky and get it out of there. And she will succeed for the moment until Merva taps it in the other direction. Now Merva dribbling it on the flat part of the stick. Swings it forward to Mullen. Mullen through a pile, out of traffic, swept on, kicked away by Dallaire. 50 seconds gone by here in the fourth quarter, and Leominster back on their heels once again. Into the middle of the field with some room. Shot, Dallaire stretches out, kick save, and then sweeps it smartly across the end line. Ball back to the Colonials, but able to do it.
Shrewsbury coming out much like they did to open the second half here, just putting the pressure on the Blue Devils immediately as soon as they gain possession. A couple of great chances here to start this fourth quarter.
This is Merva, shot, knocked off a stick, but the ball will go back to the Colonials. 13:30 to play in the fourth quarter. 3-0 Shrewsbury's lead. Merva's going to try to set the ball on the restart. Merva awaits the whistle. Deflected on. through the middle of the field. To try to clear, this one gets knocked down. Breen up to Merva. Merva forks it on until Santucci stops the movement and then sends it back out toward midfield. A wild one by Hurley, slung back into the Leominster end and knocked down by Gasparo. Gasparo and Merva battling forward right at midfield. And then forward it goes to Howlett. Howlett able to split the wickets, move it forward at least momentarily. And right back down to the Leominster end it goes, off the stick of Bill Thomas. Get it? Hurley. Yes, that is correct. Great guess, as Hurley was able to drive it back on. Here she is again. Gets to a loose ball on the defensive side of the field, sweeps at it, and knocks it loose to Merva. And now Merva will take it across midfield, and Merva smartly throws it to the open field to Trippy, who is wide open on the right side of the field, on the attack from right to left. 2 minutes gone by here in the fourth quarter. Trippy slaps it toward goal. It's deflected down and across the end line. And Bill Thomas, you cannot underestimate the play from Hurley. She just will not let Leominster get by the 40-45 yard line on the football mark.
And now that we've swapped ends, we've been able to see her up close here in the second half. And she's just a great player. She controls the sideline in this half of the field and smartly gets the ball in the offensive zone. And then follows it in there.
Trippy pulls the ball from behind from Miller. Trippy, a tap, then the ball seemed to stick. Now got it moved forward, able to knock it forward to Kent. And then a whistle as contact called against Shrewsbury, Leominster ball.
Leominster still having trouble getting inside the offensive zone, inside the 20 or the 16-yard circle, the arc, where most of the offense happens. Just can't break through that great picket fence defense that Shrewsbury's putting up at midfield.
And Mayette's able to get good stick on that, send it out toward midfield until Hurley knocks it down. Stop me if you've heard this one before. And Hurley sends it on to Mullen. And now Mullen tiptoes through the middle of the field. Shot sent wide of the post right. Across the end line, Leominster ball.
You know, I think one of the things we're also seeing as part of the defensive philosophy of Shrewsbury is they don't turn and run as soon as Leominster gets possession and down on their defensive end. They challenge the ball right up through midfield instead of letting the ball be advanced, and I think that's where a lot of the takeaways are happening.
The Amateurs tried to clear the zone, couldn't. Then Parker tried to stop the Colonial attack, and now the ball gets sent back out. Nice give and go work there. Not great contact for Kent, as this one will get poked away, but Kent will go back and re-corral, get another opportunity at it. And the stick contact called against Leominster's Howlett getting back into the play, and so it'll be Colonial ball. So we pass under the 10-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Leominster chasing 3 at 3-0 Shrewsbury. Centering. The Amatress knocks it down and kept it away from Trippy. Trippy comes back in across the back of the Amatress. The whistle called against Shrewsbury, and it'll be Leominster ball. And Leominster right back on the attack. This is Howlett. Howlett chips it forward. Now in a foot race with Hurley. Hurley will get to it, work the back of the stick, stop it there, and then sling it forward for Mullen.
It's almost like she's starting a fast break.
Indeed. The great transition game for sure. This is Parker. Parker sweeps it down toward Howlett. Howlett knocks it on across the 30. Sent right back to her. Work toward the sideline, and Howlett is battling Hurley. Hurley called for the rare whistle there, not able to pull it clean, and it'll be Leominster on the restart. For Constant. Constant drives it down to Howlett. And Howlett falls across the stick of Hurley, who is only able to get token contact, but nobody from Leominster noticed, and Hurley's able to sweep it back out down the left sideline.
Rare mistake there, didn't cost her.
And a whistle, ball out of play, last touched by Leominster's Parker. And so it'll be Colonial ball on the restart. Want to welcome our viewers joining us from the town of Shrewsbury and all around central Massachusetts. Great to have you with us. Fall 1 action here on Rivalry Family Media, the 8th and final field hockey game of Fall 1 for these two schools. Both teams advancing on, as are all 5 teams in each pod, to playoff action. And so in this particular case, Leominster will move on to play Westboro in the 4-5 action. That game will be right here at historic Doyle Field on Monday night. Game to be played at 6 o'clock in the evening. Same-day delay coverage available right here on RFM, facebook.com/Media Rivalry, and available on YouTube. 9 p.m. same-day delay for the Facebook broadcast, and then followed up shortly thereafter on demand on YouTube as the shot rings wide of the net across the end line, and the ball back to Leominster. 7:40 to play here in the fourth quarter. 3-0 Shrewsbury's lead. You're seeing this one on same-day delay, played earlier this afternoon on a beautiful sun-drenched day in early November at Doyle Field. What a great fall day, Bill Thomas. You got the colors, you got the sun down here. Can't possibly be a better fall day.
Oh, I mean, sun setting. It's slight breeze, but it's still warm enough to be able to enjoy it. Short sleeves, and couldn't ask for a better day. First week in November. I like to refer to it as Chamber of Commerce weather.
Oh, without a doubt.
This is what they would order, especially this time of year.
Get out and get all of your pamphlet photos done today, as this one gets poked away, only temporarily from Mullen, and then Dallaire steps up, strips it right off the stick. He'll chip it forward, only to be bothered, knocked his way through Breen, and Breen scrambles back into the play and keeps working across Dallaire, and the foul called on Breen. Leominster ball. This will be Marchetti to re-trigger on the restart. 6.5 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Leominster looking to cut into this 3-0 deficit. Not able to make it far enough down into the zone. However, Colonials will turn the tide. Play on the signal as Leominster comes across. Chipped forward there by Borys. Borys looks center of the field. Tries to find the connection there for Miller. Not able to do it. Back for Dallaire. Merva will check back into the game to spell Mullen. And now Dallaire down the left sideline. Scrambled back into the play. Foul committed there. Leominster ball. Marchetti. Leominster able to change most players on the near side of the field while the action persists, with Dallaire over on the far side. And now a whistle. Dallaire called for the foul. Ball back to the Colonials. 5:40 to play in the fourth. Forward it goes down the right sideline. This is Merva. Leominster on their horse, gets to the near sideline and successfully gets across. And back out onto the field go the Blue Devils. MIAA bit by the turf monster, crossing the 35-yard line, and is able to scramble back up. Whistle favors Leominster, and as we wind down toward the 5-minute mark of the fourth, Leominster on the restart. Santucci up for MIAA, chopped onto Howlett. Howlett being bothered by Hurley. Howlett scrambles right into the pads of Frederick. She'll knock it away. Leominster still on the attack. Cleared away there by Hurley. Hurley moves it up the left side, and Miller will move it on for a breakaway opportunity for Borys. Leominster trying to scramble back in front. Russo, the lone sweeper in front of her. Steps around there, does Borys. Now Borys on Dallaire. The shot swatted away by Dallaire with a leg.
Great job on both ends there. Great offensive rush, and Dallaire comes out to meet the challenge.
And a high shot, this one well above the shoulder. And the ball will go back to Leominster. 4.5 to play in the fourth. Bill Thomas, we've been talking about this every time we've been covering field hockey. The changes in the action that were necessitated by COVID involved them reducing the number of players on the field, but in this casual observer's opinion, has improved the game. You can see more players are involved in the action as coaches are running lines out there, traditionally like ice hockey might or like lacrosse might, where they're changing players constantly to keep people fresh, and the action wide open. You don't have balls bouncing off of people. You don't have big scrums moving the ball down the field. It's created a much more wide open game, a lot more excitement.
Well, I'm sure you wouldn't be seeing the breakaways and the 2-on-1s if you had, the complement of 10 players on each side, clogging up the lanes. And I kind of like this. I hope they don't go back. I wasn't real familiar with the version of, the 11-on-11, 10 offense each way, but let's keep it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes bold experiments do end up working in the long term as we pass the 3.5 minute mark of the fourth and a 3-0 Shrewsbury lead.
It's funny how you hear, we can't do that. but you're forced to do it, and then it's like, well, maybe it's not so bad.
Absolutely. I am
Been hearing that a lot this year.
I think that is maybe one of the many phrases of 2020. Persistence being the key, and you might much rather have sports than not, so you find creative ways to do it, as the folks in the winter season are about to find out. A lot of sports got greenlit just this week, but they're going to have to do some real modification work, and hopefully they're able to find safe ways to produce high school athletics in that winter and fall 2 season that will allow these games like basketball, ice hockey, and potentially, yes, even football that has been initially green-lighted pending the proper modifications to protect from this disease.
And they're also contemplating allowing fans into the gymnasium, so we'll have to see how that works out. Of course, it's a moving, ever-evolving goal line here on what the end game is going to be. But we're hopeful.
Leominster on the attack, Howlett, with Hurley scrambling back in the play. And Hurley steps over a stick to stop the movement of Leominster once again. This is Santucci. Flicks it on to Howlett. Best scoring opportunity for Leominster. Howlett settles it down. Center mass on Frederick, knocks it down. Now Hurley trying to clear the front, and the foul call that looked like Hurley, no check it. That was Breen, and it'll be Leominster's ball in the 25-yard restart.
Best opportunity, at least in the second half right there for Leominster. Just could not crack the goalie there. Good pad job.
Little left or a little right on Frederick, and that one might find the net.
Good job keeping the pads together, though. Close those wickets.
Indeed. Falling down, Santucci lost an edge, and then slung over toward the sideline by the Colonials, scrambling back to corral it. Unfortunately, the unnamed 22. Down the far sideline we go. And across the sideline, ball back to Leominster. Passing the last 90 seconds of this one. A 3-0 Shrewsbury lead. Driven down the sideline left by MIAA. Looking for Howlett. Howlett, though, unfortunately, brings Hurley with her. And Hurley sweeps the ball away. And forward it goes on the stick of the Colonials. And down into the open field it goes. Scrambled, knocked away there by Russo, sweeping out in front of Dallaire. Colonials drive it back down again. Santucci working with Sawyer. Santucci trying to steer it away. Russo will step up as the sweeper in front and chip it over the end line out of play. Final 40 seconds of the fourth quarter here. Maybe time for one more restart by the time they get back to the ball. 3-0 Shrewsbury's lead on their way to a 3-0 victory. Their 6th out of the 8 games in this regular season. 25 seconds left here in the fourth. For Leominster will be their 6th loss in 8. But an opportunity in the playoffs to right a whole heck of a lot of disappointment comes Monday against Westboro. A team that Leominster has already beaten earlier on this season right here on home turf. Final 10 seconds of the fourth quarter. Merva sends it down toward Dallaire, trying to close on the post. Dallaire on all fours scrambles. It gets pushed over the end line, and that is the way this one will end. A final here from historic Doyle Field in the score. Shrewsbury 3 and Leominster 0, an end-to-end battle. And Bill Thomas, when we reach the end of the day, there are going to be 2 players for the Colonials that got a lot of help from supporting cast, but those 2 key players, Mullen, the 2 quick goals at the start of the third quarter, and then again Hurley playing that back line and keeping Leominster from advancing the ball down the field and just kept pushing it back into the offensive end. Well,
we saw Mullen involved in every offensive opportunity, it seemed like, down there, and you couldn't miss her with her orange sneakers. And, she just has skills, and you can see it. She's very aggressive. She didn't run out of steam in the second half. She was continued to apply the pressure there and got those 2 quick goals there to start that third quarter. And it was the difference in the game, basically. Leominster Lady Blue Devils played really good tonight. We kind of saw it with the aggressiveness, the offensive aggressiveness, with the way Shrewsbury was playing in that first half. And, and you didn't want to say, felt like eventually they were going to break through. The pressure. You could see them dominating offensive possession time if we were to look at that, and that says a lot for the flow of the game. And eventually they broke through, and 3 quick ones. But the other set, and that was within about a 5-minute period. Those other 75 minutes, Lady Blue Devils played really good, and I think it's a good prep for them going into their playoff game next Monday.
Indeed it was. Lots of positives can come out of a losing effort, and for Leominster, again, sets the table for that kind of effort against Westboro on Monday night. Could lead to a second playoff game, but one step in front of the other. Colonials should close this as the top seed in this pod. Meanwhile, Leominster will close as the 4 seed, and they will play Westboro on Monday in a game that will be right here on Rivalry Family Media. Again, same-day delay details, 9 p.m., facebook.com/media rivalry. That's the game you're watching here. That's where you will find that game on Monday that will take place at 6 o'clock here at Doyle Field. Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins will have the play-by-play call, and same-day delay coverage, facebook.com/media rivalry at 9 p.m. on Monday, as well as this one tonight. All games on Rivalry Family Media available immediately following their debut on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe and like today. Search Rivalry Family Media on YouTube.
And make
all
it a
of our
favorite.
great broadcasts. That's right. Like, subscribe, and come back often, Bill Thomas.
Make it a favorite.
Lots of action you could see throughout the year here on RFM. For Kate Robbins and Bill Thomas, I am Todd Robbins, saying thank you so very much for joining us and being a part of our family over the last couple of hours. Once again, the final score, Shrewsbury 3 and Leominster 0. Until next week, so long, everybody.